I want us to consider the cost of corporate crime versus street crime. According to the FBI estimates, burglary and robbery cost the U.S. $3.8 billion a year, while white-collar crime costs in excess of $500 billion a year. White-collar crime refers to financially motivated nonviolent crime committed by business and government professionals. Within criminology, it was first defined by sociologist Edwin Sutherland in 1939 as a crime committed by a person of respectability and high social status in the course of his occupation. Typical white-collar crime includes fraud, bribery, Ponzi schemes, insider trading, embezzlement, cybercrime, copyright infringement, money laundering, identity theft, and forgery. So examples of this was the Enron scandal and Bernard Ebbers at WorldCom and Bernie Madoff and his asset management service, which was not much more than a big Ponzi scheme. So when we think of the cost of crime, we think more of property crime, robbery and burglary. In our mind, that's crime. But the RAND Corporation, which is a big government think tank that does research for the federal government, did an interesting cost-benefit study of property crime as we think of it, and found that the cost of incarceration for these types of criminals far exceeds the cost of the actual loss of property. But we need to feel safe, and to do so, we want to lock up certain kinds of criminals. Just understand that white-collar crime is far more expensive in actual property loss than the common kinds of crime, such as burglary and robbery. So when we look at the cost of incarceration, it's one of the major costs of government. There are some economists that say that if we were to get a handle on the cost of incarceration and the cost of health care, we could turn the American economy around. These are two massive costs to society. And one of the major drivers in the cost of incarceration are the longer sentences that are being imposed due to the Get Tough laws that have caused huge increases in prison populations. The three strikes laws started in Washington state in 1993 and swept across the country in the years that follow. They create penalty enhancements and 20 to life sentences for those people that were repeat felony offenders. So that is, if a person committed a low-level felony, say something that could get a 1 to 5 year prison term, but say it was their third felony, it could get them 20 to life. And California passed their law in 2004, and it allowed for a person committing a serious felony to get a life prison sentence. Now, while no one wants a serious felony offender on the streets, the cost to the public to house these individuals is staggering. And I think it's important to note, too, that the U.S. has the highest prison population of any industrialized country.